The voice had always been a ghost before it was a person. A line on a missing person poster, a memory that turned the rooms of the house a shade colder. For 15 years, I had let those rooms keep her photos on every wall. Our wedding portrait hung where it caught the morning light. I told myself those pictures were reverence. Mostly, they were proof I could still pretend she existed, without confessing why she didn't. When the landline rang 2 days ago, the sound felt like an accusation. I hadn't touched that number in years. People came to me with questions when she vanished, and then moved on, when there were none left to ask. The voice on the line was thin, soaked in breath and rustle, and it called me by name the way only one person ever had. I told it to stop. I told it it was a lie. I hung up 3 times, told my friend it was a prank, told myself there was nothing to hear. The calls kept coming. The voice kept saying the same thing. Daniel, thank goodness I finally reached you. I knew with a clarity that made my hands shake that it was not a stranger playing a cruel joke. I knew because I had thought of this moment 1,000 times. The moment the past would come back and take me by the throat. I had imagined the police knocking, the tape around the yard, the faces of people I loved narrowing into accusation. I had never imagined a whisper. This morning, the house smelled like rain on concrete and the low, metallic tang of old pipes. I moved through it like a man walking through his own photograph, the grain of the floorboards underfoot, the muffled city a distant hum, the way the light angled through the curtains and found the dust and made it holy. The phone screamed from the hallway. I told myself to do something rational. Call the police, trace the number, record the voice. Instead, I answered. Hope. A stupid hope that hearing Sarah would be only the echo of a name long silenced. Daniel, thank goodness I finally reached you. Closer, as if someone had stepped out from behind the curtains. The rustling sounded like paper dragged over a table, like leaves under a slow shoe. It came from inside the house. The word inside split me open. I could make lists of everything sensible. Then, I'm irrational. It's a recording. Someone is imitating her? I could list every reason she could not be here. My hands remembered other things, faster than my mind. The ache in my shoulder the day I dug, the way the soil packed under my fingernails, the taste of iron that I washed from my mouth and pretended was from tinned tomatoes. Memory is a traitor that will press its face to glass and say it's only watching. I moved toward the sound because moving felt better than standing still. The hallway smelled faintly of lilies, her favorite when she was alive, and a sourness beneath that made my stomach drop. The wedding photo hung to my left. I paused, fingers tracing the gilded frame out of muscle memory. Sarah smiled in that picture, light and everything I had argued I loved. When we married, I had promised not to let anything take her away. I had kept that promise in the worst way possible. The rustling shifted. The voice, now closer, used my name like someone unlocking a door. "Are you there?" it asked. Not the recorded cadence of a trick, but the tremor of breath held too long. I told it, "No, you're not her. You're not." And the sentence stalled, because the voice answered with something only she had ever said when she wanted me to stop worrying. "You always knot your tie on the stair, Daniel. You think I don't notice." It was a small thing, absurd and domestic, and that tiny specificity slammed into me like a verdict. There were secrets only she and I shared, and some of them I had buried deeper than the rest. Adrenaline made my legs quick, my breaths short. The house around me folded its familiar angles into claustrophobia. The pantry door ajar. The old radiator clanking a tired note. The shadow under the sofa where last week's mail had settled. The voice moved again, no longer through wires, but layered over the creak of the floorboards, as if two speakers were playing the same line in different rooms. Daniel, thank goodness I finally reached you." I wanted to call for help, but the syllable of my own name in that voice was a rope around my throat. My mind cataloged possibilities. The police finally clever enough to frame me, a neighbor using a synth to punish me, a delusion sprung from too many solitary nights. None of them accounted for the way the curtains fluttered, though there was no breeze, nor for the smear of damp along the sill, where single, perfect handprints made the glass a little too familiar. I went to the window because a man goes to light when he needs to see what his hands have done. I pulled the curtain back. Outside was the yard we had planted together, the maple sapling we set the day after the wedding, the patch where we'd tried to grow tomatoes and failed, the path of crushed grass that led to the fence. Everything ordinary, nothing. My reflection stared back, pale and crooked. For a second, I imagined the reflection lifted its hand and tapped the glass. Something cold pressed against the skin behind my neck. Not a breeze, not the house settling. A whisper, her voice in my ear, close enough that I felt breath on my cheek, said a simple, private thing no one else knew and never could have guessed. "Don't look under the wedding photo." I turned slowly. The photo hung at an angle it hadn't held in years. My fingers moved before thought. There was nothing at first. Then the frame slipped, and a smell that had been buried for 15 years rose like steam earth, and something bitter, a sweetness gone wrong. My thumb brushed the backing. I felt the hollow where someone had put secrets and stones. A voice repeated, patient as a tide. "Wakaka, wakaka, wakaka, wakaka." "Daniel? Daniel, thank goodness! I finally reached you." I wanted to run. I wanted to call the police and admit everything, to unmake my silence with confession. I wanted to do anything but stand there, while the house folded around me and the thing I'd hidden called me home. My throat closed. I answered, because even monsters can be coaxed by the thing most like them.